Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
The San Diego County Board of Supervisors is calling on Nathan Fletcher to resign immediately. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. The board's vote of no confidence today was unanimous, but as KPBS reporter John Carroll explains, it may not change anything.
Board Chair Nora Vargas called a special meeting for one purpose, to take a vote of no confidence in Nathan Fletcher and to demand his immediate resignation.
Supervisor Fletcher has been absent for the past 2 weeks and unable to serve the people of San Diego or to answer for any of the troubling allegations brought against him.
At this morning's meeting, public comment was almost entirely in support of the resolution demanding Fletcher step down.
If this egregious act would have happened someplace else, they would have had him resign or at least go on administrative leave without pay.
All four members of the board made it clear they'd like to see Fletcher gone immediately, but the board's lawyers said they don't have the authority to remove him. Fletcher has said he'll resign on May 15th. Caller Daniel Schmiechowski said the legal process should be allowed to take its course.
The jury is out on Mr. Fletcher. This is a civil process that must go through.
To no one's surprise, the vote to approve the resolution of no confidence was unanimous.
Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors who are present voting aye.
After the meeting, Supervisors Vargas and Desmond talked to the media and said their focus is on the future.
I am extremely disappointed, and my goal is to really focus on what the process is going to be next, because there are 675,000 people in his district board who really need to make sure that they have representation.
Desmond said a major concern in the near future is hiring a new chief administrative officer for the county without Fletcher's involvement.
But we need to do this right. We need to have his hands off of this hire, because this person in this position lasts for many years. We want to make sure we get it right.
The board next meets on May 2nd, and while there's nothing they can do about Nathan Fletcher, they may very well decide to restart the process of hiring a county administrative officer, as well as deciding what to do with Nathan Fletcher's seat, appointing someone to fill the remainder of the term, holding a special election, or letting the District 4 seat remain empty until the next election. At the County Administration Building, John Carroll, KPBS News.
And our most recent episode of KPBS Roundtable focuses on the controversy surrounding Supervisor Nathan Fletcher, and you can stream it anytime at kpbs.org and wherever you get your podcasts. Police are still looking for potential victims of 2 registered sex offenders accused of raping minors while staying at an El Cajon motel through a county program. KPBS reporter Kitty Alvarado says El Cajon city officials want the program stopped, at least temporarily.
70-year-old Michael Inman and 34-year-old Lawrence Cantrell are registered sex offenders with GPS ankle monitors. They were placed in motels in El Cajon by a county program run by county contractor People Assisting the Homeless, or PATH. Police say 5 days later, a PATH employee called them to report a crime.
These sex predators set up shop and started raping girls, young girls, in the hotel room that the county provided.
Bill Wells, the mayor of El Cajon, says there could be at least half a dozen victims.
They videotaped the entire process. It's disgusting.
The men were charged with more than a dozen felonies. According to jail records, some of the victims were younger than 3.
We predicted that this was going to be a problem.
The city has tried to pass ordinances that would force motels that accept mostly county funds to change their business status.
So they couldn't operate as hotels and homeless shelters. They basically had to choose one or the other. And then the state attorney general's office weighed in and threatened us with a cease and desist letter and saying that we were violating fair housing laws.
Now the city is considering other options, including a 90-day moratorium.
We've got to stop it now. This is madness.
Steve Goebel is the deputy mayor of El Cajon.
We're going to start holding these operators, these contractors accountable in El Cajon. We're going to require them to have a special license. And if you don't fulfill the conditions of that license to protect everyone, then you can't do business in El Cajon.
He says county programs pay almost twice the going rate for these rooms. And he says the lack of oversight and motel operators putting profits over safety have broken the system.
What we're doing is enabling them to do their crimes in secret.
The city is holding a series of town hall meetings through May 4th to discuss the issue and get ideas from residents like Richard Agundez Jr.
It's my city. I love it. We have to do something.
He thinks people who work for programs like PATH do care.
But is it thorough enough? I don't think so. I really don't think so. And are there laws, appropriate laws, that are enforceable to keep something like this happening again?
City leaders like council member Michelle Mitchell are confused and furious.
We're not getting the answers from anyone. And I don't even know who to go to. I'm very frustrated.
We got clarification from the county. In a statement, they said the two men arrested were not in programs to house the homeless. They were in separate programs, including one for veterans. They're coordinated through the district attorney's office and are different from other state and county funded voucher programs. The county's data shows it decreases recidivism by more than 50%.
But we were told 6 months ago that there weren't any criminals coming through this program. There certainly weren't any sex offenders.
City officials say the county has been giving them conflicting information or none at all.
Who makes those decisions? That's what I'm angry about. That these two men were given free housing when we have 80-year-olds, 70-year-olds dying on the street.
The county declined an interview, but said in a statement they're investigating the circumstances of Inman and Cantrell to better understand what happened and potential changes. They also say their policy is to house people where they're from, but could not elaborate.
We can't look at the whole program like it's a horrible program and all bad things are happening there, because that's not true.
Carrie Irwin runs a drug rehab program. She says what she saw and heard at the meeting gave her hope. She says the work PATH does is good when there's strict monitoring and accountability, because even one victim is too many.
We want to have zero. Let's open up our eyes and be more vigilant.
El Cajon Police Sergeant Rob Ransweiler says they've arrested dozens of people from county programs.
To just think that program only serves the criminal element is off base.
But what these men are accused of doing is so heinous that good programs will be put in jeopardy if this continues.
The problem is the few ruin it for the many.
PATH declined an interview, but said in a statement they will continue to work closely with law enforcement and add, quote, "We extend our sympathies to all those impacted by this disturbing incident." Motel 6 and the county's parole department did not return our calls. Inman and Cantrell are scheduled to be in court on April 27th. The city of El Cajon plans its next town hall meeting this Saturday.
Let's not blame anybody.
Wells says it's time to put differences aside and work together.
I'm willing to put it all away and never shake a finger at anybody ever again if they would leave my city alone.
Kitty Alvarado, KPBS News.
Police in Kentucky say they are reviewing video from an Instagram live stream broadcast by the person that they believe carried out a mass shooting inside a bank. Laura Aguirre tells us about the new information that's coming out one day after the attack.
As Louisville police laid out the facts of Monday's deadly bank shooting,
he purchased the weapon used on April the 4th legally from one of the local dealerships here in Louisville.
Officials were clear on the broader public safety threat of gun violence.
We know he texted or called at least one person to let them know he was suicidal and contemplating harm. But we don't have the tools on the books to deal with someone who is an imminent danger to themselves or to others.
Some leaders who spoke Tuesday had close ties to one of those killed or injured.
I knew Tommy well. His wife even worked with my wife for a time at a company here in town.
Yesterday, I've lost a very close friend in another workplace shooting.
Officer Nicholas Wilt just graduated from the police academy on March 31st. I just swore him in.
Officer Wilt remains in critical condition at the University of Louisville Hospital.
For 15 years, I've cared for victims of violence and gunshot wounds. And people say I'm tired, but I'll be answered. It's more than tired. I'm weary. When you hear someone screaming, "Mommy," or "Daddy," it just becomes too hard day in and day out.
We need policies in place that will keep this from happening again, so that thoughts and prayers do not have to be offered to yet another community ripped apart by the savage violence coming from guns.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Mass shootings and a global pandemic are just some of the most current realities facing healthcare workers. Here in San Diego, City College has just been ranked as having one of the best nursing programs in the country. KPBS education reporter MG Perez takes us on campus for the story.
Deep breaths for me. Inhale.
This could be a life-saving lesson. The patients are only mannequins, but the practice of medicine is real. Students in the San Diego City College nursing program have 2 years of curriculum and dozens of clinical hours they must complete before earning their associate's degree. Betty Robbins is one of them.
Especially with an IV, you have to be honest that it is going to hurt a little bit, but it's only for a few seconds.
In the aftermath of the COVID pandemic, classes of 50 to 65 students each semester learn here. And the industry-leading website, rncareers.org, has ranked the City College 2-year program as the second best in California and the number 3 program in the country, competing with 1,700 other nursing schools. For Betty Robbins, it's personal. She got into nursing school after caring for her sister before she died from cancer and a close friend who almost died in a motorcycle accident.
Having a nurse that cares about you and knows what they're doing and knows how to help you makes all the difference in the world.
With our ranking, it shows how dedicated we are when it comes to instructors, staff, when it comes to the students and how hard they work.
San Diego City College's high ranking is not like comparing apples and oranges with other nursing schools. This is about comparing test results on a very important exam required of every student who wants to become a nurse. It's called the National Council Licensure Examination for registered nurses, the NCLEX for short, and every one of these students is working to pass it. Most recently, City College has had a 100% pass rate, which dropped to 98.5% last year, still well above the national average.
We have multiple resources here, so I just encourage them to keep pursuing their goal and don't lose sight of, what they want to do in the future.
That's the best medicine these nursing students can share with future patients.
There you go.
MG Perez, KPBS News.
Public safety officers in Tijuana say this building was so unsafe that it had to be destroyed. This video is from Sunday showing the controlled collapse. Everyone was evacuated because officials say that they found cracks near the building that caused separation. Tijuana's mayor says the previous administration should not have allowed permits for the building since the city has weak soil. There are nearly 1 million vacant IT jobs in the U.S. last year, according to federal employment data, and that's a problem for tech companies, but an opportunity for IT professionals in Mexico. KPBS border reporter Gustavo Solis explains how Tijuana is becoming more than just a manufacturing hub.
This office has everything you'd expect from a Silicon Valley tech company. Free food, art-covered walls, board games, and stunning views. Except, these views aren't of the Golden Gate Bridge in the Bay Area. They're of Tijuana's skyline and the Mexican border. And this office is a sign of Tijuana's booming tech sector, which is mostly fueled by the fact that there aren't enough American engineers to fill IT jobs north of the border.
I do see that the reason of our existence, if you will, is because there is this extreme need for engineers in the U.S., and right now they're not meeting that demand.
That's Omar Parra, engineering director with iTijuana. iTijuana connects American companies with Mexican talent.
We built a team for you.
Those teams include everything: engineers, managers, site directors, not to mention software developers well-versed in multiple languages, like
iOS development, Android, full stack, web, cloud, DevOps, DBAs, and so on.
Tijuana currently has 400 employees contracted with American companies. Parra expects that number to grow to 1,000 within 2 years.
Somos una empresa que lleva...
Fernando Torres calls this the pandemic layoff boom. He works for Softech, the largest IT nearshoring company in Mexico.
Ahorita sí estamos entrando como que en un boom que tiene que ver con también los layoffs que están sucediendo.
Torres says American companies increased their workforce at the start of the pandemic, but started laying off those new hires in January. Now they're reverting back to pre-pandemic staffing levels.
Y complementando esos servicios con...
Torres says that the companies that laid off workers are now seeking more cost-effective options in Mexico.
We had so much work that we couldn't keep up with it.
David Fishman is seeing the same thing. He's CEO of the Sparrow Company, a recruiting firm that helps companies find workers in Mexico. He says that the pandemic's disruption to global supply chains forced companies to think outside the box. And for a lot of them, that meant Mexico.
Not just the big multinationals, but the smaller, the $50 million to $100 million company saying, hey, we'd like to add IT staff. Everybody was going to Mexico.
There is so much interest in Mexican IT workers that it's getting harder to find them. Fishman says they try to lure workers with more money, but now it's more common that those workers will get a counteroffer to stay.
Let's say that the candidate's making 45,000 pesos. We offer 60,000 pesos, which is a decent raise, okay? And then they offer them 70 to stay, okay? And then they turn our customer down.
Well, very interesting when we started.
Back in Tijuana, Parra hopes to avoid this competition by investing in developing local talent. Tijuana has multiple partnerships with Tijuana's universities.
What we've done is invest heavily in programs like the trainee program with universities.
Tijuana has more than 35 public and private universities and more than 14,000 students enrolled in engineering and technical programs. Dozens of them work as part-time trainees at Tijuana.
We actually put them in real possession, real jobs, real teams, real projects.
A group of students toured the Tijuana offices during our visit. They could be working there one day, and they finished the tour with a round of applause. Gustavo Solis, KPBS News. If you have thoughts on artificial intelligence, the Biden administration wants to hear it. A 2-month public comment period is now open. President Biden's team in the Commerce Department wants ideas on how to best regulate the technology. It's taken off in recent months with programs like ChatGPT, which is made by Google. The government says it wants to ensure products are ethical, safe, and trustworthy. And AI is a topic of KPBS has covered in recent weeks. Jacob Ayer explained how ChatGPT is being used in everyday settings, including schoolwork. KPBS Roundtable also hosted a discussion on AI benefits and concerns. That's all available at kpbs.org and the KPBS YouTube page.
I'm Amna Nawaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, new details emerge about the mass shooting in Louisville and the police response. That's coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS. And today is National Pet Day, and while you may be snuggling at home with your furry friend, there are many more in need of homes. As KPBS reporter Melissa May tells us, the San Diego Humane Society has a new incentive to help find fosters for dogs who are among the most difficult to place.
In mid-March, the San Diego Humane Society reached a record high 620 adult dogs in their care.
Even a shelter as wonderful as ours is stressful. It's a stressful environment for the dog. They have other dog neighbors who are barking possibly all day, all night long, and they don't get the one-on-one attention like they deserve.
So the Humane Society created the Foster Incentive Program.
If a foster takes on a dog 50 pounds or more, because that's our biggest need, for at least 2 weeks, and at the end of that period you would get a $100 gift card, and it's really just to possibly welcome a new audience that we haven't had before.
Jackie Noble, the director of nursery and placement at the San Diego Humane Society, came up with the program. to help dogs like Mama's.
And we knew right off the bat that she does not do great in the shelter because of her shy and fearful behaviors. And you can see right now she's a little bit nervous, she's panting, her tail's a little bit tucked, and you can see just the shelter can be really overwhelming for some dogs, and Mama's is one of those dogs.
Fostering helps the Humane Society learn about the dog's personality too.
She has very good manners. She doesn't try and get on the furniture. She doesn't try and put her paws up on the counter, even if there's food up there. She knows we're talking about her saying good things.
Mama's foster family also learned that she gets along with cats, does great with walks and car rides too. Now a 50-pound dog may seem like a lot to take on, but the Humane Society provides everything from supplies to medical care while you foster. And there's more to love with the bigger dog.
These larger breed dogs are going to be like your hiking companions, your walking companions, a fitness buddy, but also they're pretty much most big dogs will turn into lap dogs once they get comfortable in your home. So they're good lap warmers, reading buddies, sit and watch TV with them.
In order to participate in the program, you must attend a mandatory training at one of their 4 campuses. To learn more, go to sdhumane.org/foster. Melissa May, KPBS News.
Weeks after a rare tornado damaged businesses near LA, those affected say that they're getting little help in their recovery. Nicole Comstock has an update from Montebello, where getting insurance companies to pay up is an ongoing struggle.
It's been 3 weeks since an EF1 tornado swirled an unlikely path of destruction through Montebello. And this trucking business that suffered extensive damage to its fleet is still getting the runaround from its insurance company.
Unless you have coverage for extra tornadoes and earthquakes, they won't cover you. And we weren't expecting to have a tornado here.
Isabel Cruz says LA County stopped by asking for a damage estimate, for which they're also forced to foot the bill.
It's costing right now the owner-operators. Most of them are doing out-of-pocket repairs.
And it's costing one business everything.
The one business has indicated that they will be permanently closing, unfortunately.
City spokesperson Alex Gilman now confirms that it's Utilimaster, which customizes commercial delivery trucks, that plans to close for good due to tornado damage. New video shows a third of the roof is still missing at the red-tagged warehouse. And a letter the company sent to the city reportedly says 60 employees will likely be laid off. We reached out to Utilimaster for a comment, but have not yet heard back from them.
We are hosting a job fair on May 3rd. It'll be for the employees specific to Utilimaster that were affected by the March 22nd tornado. And what we're looking to do at that is connect those individuals who are currently unemployed with employers who are looking for individuals who have this matched skill set, that we can get them out of unemployment as soon as possible.
Gilman says the city also plans to help others from the 10 additional red-tagged buildings return to work as soon as possible, and that they're waiting to see if they can get federal assistance approved. But the businesses say they're expecting a slow recovery.
Getting everything back to normal, repaired. Yeah. It's taking a while.
As we go down the road, we will encounter some changes, but at least for the short term, the next couple of days, we're talking about more clouds. The marine layer continues to deepen into some of those interior valleys, and even some wet weather around. Mountains and deserts and gusty winds will be persistent the next couple of days, but as we go down the road, we will be talking about a bit of a warming trend. All right, let's talk about the trends here. Historical average rainfall against San Diego, and here we are in the month of April. We typically start to see that downward trend in precipitation. Indeed, that has been the case after a very, soaking of a March. So again, not looking at precipitation, substantial precipitation here over the next couple of days. Low clouds in place again as we talk about overnight lows slipping down into the mid-50s later on tonight. And again, that's been the case here the past couple of mornings with those dense fog advisories. Would not be surprised to see a similar situation unfolding, as there will be some more low clouds again toward the coast, even some of those interior valleys. Down to 53 Chula Vista, Borrego Springs 59, Mount Laguna dropping down to 46. And even Futurecast, you can see more of an indication of those clouds in place, and some of those hang on as we work our way throughout the late morning and even into the midday hours. And that'll put a lid on the warmth where there are clouds, there's not a lot of warmth. 62, Chula Vista Oceanside, away from the coast, Ramona 66, Mount Laguna tops off at 54, Borrego Springs at 86. All right, coast extended forecast, similar situation on Thursday. That begins to break down. We'll start to see increasing amounts of sun. Little warmer here Saturday into Sunday. Highs back into the mid-60s, interior valleys. Not as warm next couple of days, even a shower possible Thursday. There's the warmth returning Saturday into Sunday, along with some sunshine into the mountains. Like I said, increasingly windy over the next couple of days. Some gusts out there topping 30, if not 35 miles per hour. A little milder as we head our way toward the tail end of the weekend with some sunshine. And the deserts will also be quite breezy. Cooler on Thursday, and then we'll start to warm things back up Saturday into Sunday. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Justin Pavic.
And here's a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. The EPA wants to boost vehicle emission standards. NPR's Morning Edition has the details and talks about the challenges in making enough electric cars to meet future demand. And KPBS Midday Edition continues the discussion on artificial intelligence and the benefits it brings. And that includes some of the local advances in healthcare and in medicine. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Previs Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.